Welcome back to the channel today, guys, and man, I gotta be real. I still think that Trigun Stampede is my favorite show from this season so far. It's just such a joy to sit down every week and watch. And granted, it could be the nostalgia. It probably is, frankly. But I just have such a great time with it, and I really hope you guys are too. Now, yeah, we're behind. We're a little behind on it. I'll keep it a buck on that. I think the next episode, the newest episode, actually comes out tomorrow. But during this season, real life has kind of gotten in my way a bit. So we're a bit behind. But I do promise you guys one thing here. That the shows we've covered during this season, I want to continue. That includes Spy Classroom, Nier, and all these other things. I want to do all of these shows, and we will. So I promise you guys we will catch up on all of them. Spy Classroom, probably within the next couple days, we'll catch up on the couple episodes we're behind on. And I want to bring you guys that and make that our lineup for this season. So I like to bring you guys some variety, you know? Some fun shows. And that's exactly what we have today with Trigun Stampede Episode 2. Very, very fun. That doesn't mean, however, that you guys aren't going to be getting other series and other videos on the channel, because trust me, I've seen some stuff recently that I really want to talk about on the channel. Trust me, we're watching other shows too. So expect fun videos like that, plus other fun videos I have planned for you guys to enjoy. But let's get into episode 2 of Trigun Stampede today, because I loved it again. Now, I like how I said this is a fun episode, but our episode begins pretty somberly, actually, as we see Vash running through the events that have put him in the position he is now. As we transition to him in his room, going over his equipment, as we hear on the radio, there's nothing on this planet. No water, no food. Without plants, our ancestors would have gone straight to heaven. Was surviving in this hellscape really a stroke of good fortune? Or should we be pitied for our bad luck? And I want to say real quick, because I didn't mention this last week, or in the last video, that Trigun's opening, the opening for this show is really good, actually. I really dig it. It's really vibey. It really kind of reminds me of, I might be crazy, but it reminds me of Cyberpunk Edgerunners' opening. For some reason. It gives me the same kind of vibe, which is another show we need to finish on the channel, but we'll talk about that another time. But it's here we transition back to Rosa's bar, as we see Vash is giving Meryl her interview that she wanted, as she says, "So what you're saying is that you're not the person running around stealing plants all over the planet. And the real culprit is your twin brother who looks exactly like you." As Roberto says, "A different man with the same face, huh? Sounds a bit too convenient." In other words, we can't just take you at your word. As Meryl tells him, "You can't cry your way out of this one," as Vash tries to. As Roberto asks him, "So your brother, knives, was it? What does he want with the plants anyway?" As Meryl asks, "Is it about money? Or maybe honor?" But Roberto asks him, "Could it be revenge?" As he just gives him a look. And I'm really liking Roberto's inclusion into the show so far. I kind of like that they gave like an old wise guy that's been around the block a couple times that isn't as naive as Meryl. He's a good inclusion to the show so far. But it's here we transition to a bit of a scummy scene, I gotta be real, as we see Rosa and everyone in the bar pull guns out on Vash and everyone there, as she says, "I'm real sorry about this, Vash." And it's here they start chasing Vash around the city, trying to catch him. And I gotta say, guys, this chase scene looks pretty good for 3D. I really do think it looks good. There are some scenes in this episode I don't think look as good, and we'll talk about them when we get there, but I think Studio Orange has been killing this show so far, because the animation has been pretty damn good. And it's here we see the residents corner Vash and potentially almost catch him. But we see Meryl and Roberto throw him a rope and yank him up there. As he lands on top of him, Roberto asks him, "What the hell is going on?" And Vash tells him, "I'd like to know that too." And it's here we actually transition to the Nebraska family, which, if you guys know from the original, we're in it. And I was so happy to see them. I was so happy to see them again. I figured they would be in this, but it's just fun. They were always so fun in the original. As Father Nebraska says, "What's wrong with this hunk of junk?" As the guy they're kidnapping tells him, "If you wanted better stuff, you should have gone to a big city like Jula." As Father Nebraska says, "I think I will. Right after we catch this loser and get our $6 million bounty." And they're obviously talking about Vash as he looks at the poster and says, "Seriously, what a dumb face this guy has." He's got to be an easy catch, Joseph. And as we transition to Vash looking at his same wanted poster, he says, "Damn, why'd they have to use this photo and do me dirty?" And it's here we see that they're still on the run from the residents of the town. As Roberto tells Meryl, "Great idea trying to save this guy, newbie. If you could actually put up a fight, this'd be a lot easier, Vash." As Vash says, "What? You want me to have a shootout? Me? Preposterous." As Vash tells him, "Look, we just gotta get out of town, right? I got a plan for that." And it's here we see that plan unfold as we see that they just stuck a red cape to an ostrich's ass to distract the residents of the town. But hey, it worked. But as they're running to the entrance of the town to try to get away, we see that Rosa's there to stop them as she says, "Don't make this any harder, Vash." And it's here Rosa tells them, "With the plant in this state, all we have to rely on is money." As Meryl asks her, "How can you be so heartless? Who does this to someone who saved their town twice? It's unthinkable." For real though. She's doing them dirty. As Rosa tells her, "Don't you think I know that? I wouldn't dare if we were just adults here. But we're mothers. I won't stand by while our kids get sick and starve. I'm sorry, Vash. If you need to lay the blame somewhere, call it bad luck." And our boy Vash, he gets it. He knows all too well what it's like to worry about the people you love. And to worry about losing them. He knows all too well. But it's here we see the giant truck come barreling in with Rosa's son just conveniently right in front of it. Okay. As Rosa goes and runs to save him, as Vash runs to save both of them and pulls them out the way. So that's 3 times Vash has saved Rosa now. Let's keep count through this episode. And as we see that they're both okay, we just hear, "Power is justice. Power is truth. There's no future for those who can't fight. Get out here, Vash the Stampede. We, the hard puncher Nebraskas, challenge you to a duel." And it's here we see Vash come storming out on the back of, I don't remember what they're called, so I'm gonna call him an ostrich, because that's kind of what it looks like, as he runs out of town. As we see that the Nebraska family chases after him, and Meryl tells Roberto, "Alright, we need to go too, let's hurry." And it's here, during our desert chase scene, they catch up to Vash, Meryl, and Roberto as he tells them, "Yo, go back to town!" As Meryl says, "What about you? They're gonna mow you down." As our boy Roberto is just knocking them back like, "Yo, as long as I got liquor, drag me wherever, I don't care." And as the chase continues, Vash leads them to a very rocky area that makes it hard for them to chase after him with their lack of mobility. But as they're chasing after Vash, the Nebraska family's truck actually starts breaking down right there. And they stop as Vash and them look back and say, "Yo, their engines stall." As we see Joseph actually shoot an arm onto Vash and catch him as he starts running away, and they're following him saying, "Stop running and fight us, damn it. Have you no pride as a gunman?" As Vash says, "Nope, none whatsoever." Now, here's what I was talking about earlier. Joseph looks like shit. He looks awful. Some of the 3D doesn't look as good. I'll be honest, there's some scenes that don't look good. Just look at Ghostif right here. He looks like dog shit. He looks terrible. I'll be honest about that. As their arm actually disconnects from Vash and they get left in the dust. And as they see them drive off, they're just like, damn it, without that cast, we're going back to prison, son. But it's here he says, I know what we can do, as he looks back at the town and take a wild guess where he's going. And it's here as we transition back to Vash and all of them as they're resting. Meryl tells him flat out, you know, I agree with that man. You think you're so clever running away like this? How totally lame. It's not an act of kindness. You're just running away from pain. As Roberto tells her, that's enough, newbie. Let it go. And it's here Vash says, you might be right that I'm too timid. But is that such a terrible thing? Is fighting everything head on so important? Even if it gets someone killed? And that shuts Meryl up very quickly. But it's here we hear on the radio, intruders at the factory, we need backup now. As we hear that the town is getting ransacked, as Vash hops on his ostrich thing and runs back there as Roberto says, get in, newbie, we're going back. And it's here as we transition back to the town. The Nebraska family is just destroying everything. And again, I gotta say, Ghostif looks like shit. As Father Nebraska says, how did we miss this? There's something much more valuable here. A real treasure. As we see they're going after the town's plant. And as they're trying to get away with the plant, we see Rosa and a bunch of people gathered to stop them. As we hear Rosa, we can't shoot her, we might hit the plant. As Rosa says, you folks stay here, and charges at them herself, which is stupid. Rosa's pregnant, isn't she? The people in town are gonna have a pregnant woman charge at these intruders that destroy town? Come on now, that's a little messed up. That's kind of messed up a little bit. As Ghostif literally just catches her, sends her flying, and shoots a robot hand at her. As Vash comes running in, kicks the arm away, and catches her in midair. He kind of styled on everyone a little bit. We gotta be real about that. As Father Nebraska asks him, what are you doing back here, you coward? Who cares? Now we can finally fight you head on. As Vash charges at him and Ghostif shoots his arm at him, and Vash just dodges everything, kind of just dancing on him a little bit, kind of just messing with him. As Father Nebraska asks him, why won't you draw your gun? Why won't you shoot? As Vash says, what about you? As he says, a single round for this baby costs a boatload. I'm saving up. He's got a freaking RPG with him. As Vash says, man, I guess we all got our problems, huh? Ain't that the truth? But it's here this time when Ghostif shoots his arm at Vash. Vash jumps out the way as Nebraska says, weapons are made for fighting, as he shoots the RPG at him. As Vash dodges the rocket, but he can't dodge the explosion. Or so we thought as we just hear, whew, that was close, as Vash pulls himself up over the side and says, come on, can you guys back off already? I really don't want to fight anyone here. As he says, if you take the plant, this town won't make it. But Father tells him, you remember they're after your head, right? They're worse than regular villains for pretending to befriend you. What value is there in trying to save them? As Vash responds, there's no reason not to save them. These people were kind to me, so I want to save them. That's all. As we see Rosa's feeling real shitty about what she's done to Vash. He saved her 4 times now, by the way. 4 times. As we see Father Nebraska just flat out pull a gun on him and just fire. And we get this cool sequence of Vash shooting at the same time and hitting his bullet in midair. Showcasing that Vash can fight. He just chooses not to. As Vash tells them, I want to help. And that includes you. But it's here Roberto says something very interesting as he says, this guy. Whose side are you actually on? Take note of that for later. And it's here we see that the structure they were on starts to crumble, because it did get hit with an RPG after all. And we see that even with this thing falling apart, Gosif is still carrying the plant with him. As he reaches them, hands the plant off to Vash, but ends up falling as he shoots an arm up there to catch himself, and Vash quickly grabs it to hold him up. And while all this is happening, we see Rosa pull a gun out on Father Nebraska and point it in his face, which she has every right to do in this instance, honestly. As Father Nebraska tells her, "He's my darling son." And Rosa kind of softens up a little bit hearing that. I don't know if I agree, but she softens up just a little bit hearing that. As Vash says, "Rosa, please, I need your help." As Rosa says, "All right, everyone, come on." As we see a bunch of the residents of the town actually help pull Gosif up. And as Father Nebraska runs to Gosif as they pull him up, Meryl, Roberto, and Rosa are just looking at him like, who are these goofy SOBs that attacked us? Like, what's going on anymore? And it's here we just see Meryl look over at Vash and like really stare at him as she says, "Vash the Stampede. What a weirdo." But at the same time, we can tell that he left a very deep impression on her through all of this. But it's here we transition to a scene that I don't really know if I agree with. As we transition to the bar and Rosa's like, "There's plenty of booze to go around, everyone. Just for today, knock yourselves out." As we see everyone's at the bar drinking, including the Nebraska family. Now, there's no way I'd let that happen. It'd be one thing if the person who saved the town twice, Vash, says, "All right, just let him go. Let him leave the town and just forget about it." There's no way I'd let him in my bar afterwards and serve him a drink after they tried to steal a plant for the town. No way. Get the hell out of here. As Father Nebraska says, "Drinking at this hour? These folks really are terrible." And it's here we see everyone just having a good time at the bar. Meryl's getting trashed in the corner, telling Roberto, "You gotta lay off the booze and smokes or that stuff's gonna get to you." But it's here Roberto notices Vash slipping out the bar on his own. And as Vash is about to leave the town, actually, Roberto says, "Not even a goodbye? They'll miss you, you know." As Vash tells him, "I don't like overstaying." As Roberto tells him, "No, that's not it. You couldn't stay in one place for long, even if you wanted to. Just who are you running from?" As he says, "Millions knives, huh?" And it's here during this conversation, they hear a huge commotion and run back into the bar to see that Gosif is getting attacked by these little machines. As Roberto says, "That's lost technology." And it's here we see the little machines change shape as Gosif runs out the bar. And we just see an explosion in the background. And our episode ends. And guys, I'm just having such a great time with Trigun. I really hope you guys are digging it too. And I'm very curious to know, like, lost technology, huh? Because as we've been watching the show, I've been trying to remember things from the original, because I heard this season's following the manga way more faithfully, and I've never read it, so I'm trying to remember things from the original that are different from this. And I was just so happy when the Nebraska family showed up today. They were always fun in the original. But yeah, guys, yet again, just another great episode of Trigun Stampede. It's such a joy that they brought this show back, and they're doing it very well. Even if the 3D this episode in some parts didn't look incredible. I gotta be real. Gosif still looks like shit. But the parts that need to look good look very good. I think, at least. So you guys let me know what you're thinking of Trigun Stampede down below, because it's been a blast. And I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces and have a blessed day. And I'll tell you guys now, we will not be doing the next episode tomorrow. We're going to do Nier tomorrow, but I think I'm going to do Trigun Stampede on Sunday, episode 3. So be excited for that. So I will see you guys then. Have a good day.